Shipwrecked in space, the Apollo 13 disaster. The Apollo 13 mission launched with the usual fanfare. A crew of brave astronauts headed toward the infinite void of space. Jim Lovell, Fred Hayes, and Jack Swigert, the stars of this daring mission, were on the edge of history. But no one could have predicted the nightmare waiting for them, hidden in the cold, endless abyss. Just 56 hours into the mission, a deafening boom shattered the silence. The ship trembled violently as alarms screamed, red lights flashed like fire, and everything turned to chaos. "What the hell was that?" Swigert's voice cracked in terror, his hands clawing at the control panel. Lovell, steady but shaken, barely managed to force the words out. "Houston, we've had a problem." "A mechanical failure?" No, this was something else. The oxygen tank had exploded. That was bad enough. But that wasn't the worst part. No, the worst part was when they realized they were drifting, out of control. "Fred, check the coordinates." Lovell barked, his heart pounding in his chest. Heiss's face went pale as he stared at the readouts, his voice barely a whisper. We're not in the solar system anymore." But before they could even process the gravity of the situation, something even darker unfolded. Outside the portholes, a blinding light erupted. The ship shook again, harder this time. An enormous, glowing sphere appeared in the distance, alive, pulsing with energy, surrounded by wreckage. "What the hell is that thing?" Swigert whispered, his breath catching in his throat. The sphere pulsed again, and in the blink of an eye, the spacecraft was yanked toward it, caught in an invisible, unrelenting pull. "We're being pulled in!" Lovell shouted. But it was too late. The ship stumbled, systems flickering and failing, the temperature plummeted, the lights went out, and then nothing, just the eerie, suffocating silence of deep space. When they woke, it wasn't space anymore. The stars had vanished. An endless black void surrounded them. Floating wreckage, ancient alien ships, drifted through the dark. Heiss's voice trembled. This is a graveyard." Swigert checked the instruments. Nothing worked. The nav systems were dead. The ship was lost. "We're not just lost in space. We're lost in time," he said, each word heavier than the last. And then the voice came. Not from the radio, but from inside their heads, cold, mechanical, filled with menace. "You do not belong here." The crew froze. Lovell's voice shook as he demanded, Who are you?" The response came, even colder than before. "This is the nexus, the boundary between dimensions. Your presence disrupts the balance. Leave or be destroyed." They were trapped. There was no way out, no way to reach Earth, no way to even survive. But then a faint signal appeared. A beacon. Hope. Or a trap. "We have to go for it," Lovell said, his voice desperate. "If we stay here, we'll die." They moved toward the signal, praying it was their way home. But it wasn't. It was worse. A massive alien ship appeared, its surface alive with glowing symbols, veins of pulsating energy running through it. The voice, louder now, deeper, filled their heads. "You have been warned." Before they could react, a powerful beam struck their ship. The impact threw them into a chaotic spin. "Brace for impact." Swigert screamed, but it was too late. The spacecraft plummeted toward the debris field below. The crash was hellish. The ship broke apart, but somehow they survived, barely. Crawling from the wreckage, they looked up, and there they were. Beings, towering, humanoid, made of light and shadow. Their presence was suffocating, their thoughts invasive. The voice thundered inside their skulls. "You are trespassers. One of you must stay behind to restore the balance, or all will perish." Heiss's breath was ragged, his eyes wide with fear. "No, we're not leaving anyone behind." But the beings were unmovable. "Choose. Or we will choose for you." No choice, none. They drew straws. And fate chose Swigert. "I'll do it," Swigert said quietly, his voice steady despite the terror clawing at him. "You two get back to Earth." The aliens didn't wait. In an instant, Lovell and Heiss were whisked back to the damaged spacecraft, the aliens repairing it just enough to return home. As the ship ascended, they saw Swigert alone, standing amidst the glowing beings, a solitary figure, swallowed by the endless void. When Apollo 13 splashed down in the Pacific, the world celebrated. The crew had survived. But Lovell and Heiss knew the truth. They had been shipwrecked in space, saved by powers beyond comprehension, and they carried with them a secret, a sacrifice that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. And then, years later, a strange signal reached NASA's deep space network. A voice, Swiggert's voice, faint but unmistakable. I'm still here, and they're not what they seem.